Hi and g'day from a sunny Australia today. I'm colouring an image from Jasmine Becket. I'm using her Patreon only or exclusive image called Ninja Dragonlings. Let's go in and have a look at it. Thanks guys. So guys, I've got another Jasmine Becket-Griffith Patreon exclusive image today. This is Ninja Dragonlings. Now, I absolutely love her original image of this, and I was really excited to see this come out. So just a couple of things before I do get started there. The image looks quite difficult because there's lots of lines and little pieces, and there's a lot of shadowing lines and things like that through it. So there's lots of detail, and it did take me a little while to get through it because I was trying to discern what was what throughout the picture. So once I started to do that, the picture really started to come together quite quickly. So I've got YR000, and I'm coming in and just covering over the face here and the skin with that. I have missed a couple of spots there, so I'll come back and grab them in a moment. I'm using some shadow color now. I've got B40, and I'm just going in and marking out all of the shadow areas in there now. So this image is of Jasmine's original one, is absolutely beautiful, and I decided to use that as inspiration for my own. So obviously using Copic markers here, and I'm using a different type of paper this time. I'm using a cheaper brand, which is J.Burrows. It's just illustration paper, beautiful with the markers. There was no issues with it. I'm also only using an A5 image here as well to use a little less ink to get through. So I'm coming over that B40 with YR00 now. I'm really quite liking the way that the skin looks with these color combinations, so I'm just continuing on to use those at the moment. Depends on what type of colors are going around in the background would determine what color I would do the skin. Now we've got a little bit of glow effect coming out from the yellow in this particular one, so I'm going to do that as well. I've actually got, just there I had RV00, but it had been marked wrong there. So I'll fix that up for you guys. So I'm coming in now and just going back into the face on this little girl that I missed before with exactly the same colors that I used before. So I'm going to put some little pink cheeks in there. I've got some R20 to do that. So guys, I've tried to put all of the colours in at the bottom for you there. I'm going to do a conversion chart to Prismacolors and Polychromos as well, but they'll be available to patrons on Patreon, so I'll leave the link in the description below as well. Also too, there is a blog, I've got Instagram, also there's a Facebook group, and I have a Facebook page as well. So if you'd like to join any of those, all the description and details, all of the details are in the description below, so check that out. So I've come in and I've started the hair. So here's where you can start to see some of the really tiny lines for the shadow areas. So I've just decided to follow those because otherwise I'm making my life difficult and I'll get too confused. So I've come in with B05 and I've just marked out all of those areas in this little girl's hair here, and I'm coming out and blending that out now with B04. So I really quite liked how her original image looked, so I've just gone and used hopefully similar colors to what she did there. But I really liked the way that it came out. It was pretty good, and I loved the background in this one too. It was something new and different, and I really liked how it came out. So this paper is kind of a little bit like I guess a review of this particular paper as well. I actually really liked it. It was a lot different to Express It blending card and the other Illustrator card that I've used, and it was so easy to print onto. It's got a different feel to it. It's not as smooth, I think, as the Express It blending card, but it's still blended just as well. In fact, I think it probably blended a little bit easier. So I'm so glad that I've tried a few different types of paper with these, because the Express It blending card can get a little bit expensive, and I know that other people use other types. I mean, I know in America there's a brand called Nehan, I think it is, and I know that a lot of people use that and it's great, but I can't get it here without getting it shipped over here. The cost would be astronomical, so I've just tried to have a look here to find something that might be similar. So that's why I've decided to go with this. So I missed a little bit of hair there underneath the arm and going down to the bottom there, so I'm just filling that in with the colors I used previously. So I came back over and blended out with B02, and then I've come in with B00 to blend that out to the highlights there. So I'm going to put a little bit of a glow on her from the red dragon up the top. So I'm going to use yellow to do the I guess the cast shadow onto her. So I've just got Y00 and I'm just putting it in on the left side of her features, so her head, on the hair and things like that, just to get that in there. Now I'm coming in to do the wing, and I'm just going to use the same colors that I've used through the hair. I'm going to put some darker colors through that I will use in the clothes as well, so I'll get that through in a moment. So I really do like this image, and I can't wait to see some of the stuff that she's going to bring out. I'm hoping that we get some flowers, because I quite like some of her the girls with the flowers around them. They're pretty, and I can do a lot of detail with skin and things like that as well. So I'm just blending out now with B00. Also too, I just wanted to let you know, if you have any questions or you want to ask something, or you want something specific done, please let me know. If you're an artist and you'd like me to color one of your images, there's an email address down in the description below as well. So I'm coming in with some BG colors. I had BG23 for the shadow areas, and I blended it out with BG01. So this is the darker blue that I'm going to use. So I've got B29, and I'm coming in and doing the mask and some of her accessories and clothes with this color. So I really like the B60 colors too, but they were a little bit too purple for this particular girl, so I went with the 29. It's more blue, and it really came out quite nice. And that's my cat. Say hello to Shadow there. She's come to make her entrance as usual. So I'm going to do all of the belts, the strapping around her hands, and also on her feet and her sandals there. I'm also going to do a little bit on the knife hanging on the side of her belt there as well. So I wanted some deep colors in there. Now I did notice that the toe in this one hasn't been colored in, so I do come back in with some skin colors, and I don't put them up on the screen, but it is just a bit of skin that I've missed on the toe there at her feet. So I'm going to do the base of the shoe a different color to the rest of it, so I'll come in and do that in a little while. So I'm just coming in and finishing off. I noticed that I'd missed a couple of bits there at the back, and also the tail of her dress is hanging down and onto the ground, so I've got to do that as well. So that's still the B29 that I've got now. So I've just got BG23. I've missed the bottom part of the dress here. See, sometimes when you start to fill out colour, you think, oh, yep, that's it. And then as you start to fill out things around it, you notice that you miss things. So just pop back in and finish those up, or fix those up when you see them. So I'm just coming through now and finishing off blending that out with BG01. Also too, this video could be slowed down. There is a function to be able to slow down a video in YouTube. So if you're going to do that, take the sound off, because it sounds really bad with that going so slow. But if you're wanting to catch up and follow along, then you could do something like that. So I'm coming in with some B16 now, and I'm blending out the B29 with this. And I'm using some B04 to blend that out further. So these are the colors that I've used in the hair, so I've tried to use those as the graduation of color down to the lightest one again, so it all comes in nicely together. So I've got B00 and I'm just blending that out. So I've put a little bit on the knife there on the hilt of the handle, and also just make sure I've done the rest of the dress as well. So I've got that E43 and I'm just filling that out roughly on the sandals there, and I've just got the toe filled in there as well now. So that's all done. Now I'm going to come in and fix up. I'm putting some darker color through the hair a little bit there. Also too, I'm going to do I probably could have done this now, but I didn't. You could have done the dragon now because he's a very similar color to what she's got on. But again, as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of lines in that area, and if you're not sure where the dragon starts and where the bush begins, it might be better to start the background first, which is what I did, so that I could see the detail in the dragon a little bit better and know where I was trying to color in. So that is something that you can do as well. So make sure you take your time, just have a look at the picture. It is fairly detailed, as I've said, so don't stress too much about not doing it quick enough or anything like that. Just take your time and do it bit by bit. So I've used some C colors in the knife there. I had C9 and C3, and I'm just putting in some silver, I guess, colors through that so that it does look a little bit like a knife. So I'm going to come in and do the eyes. I'm using B02 inside the eyes there and some B00. I wanted them light. I'm going to go in and put some highlights in later on. So I've got R43 for the fleshy parts of the eye there, and I've just blended it out and made it softer with the colorless blender there. So I'm going to move on and do some of the red girl now. So she had blue black hair, so I decided to use black to start with. It's fairly dark, but I wanted it to dark and I wanted the highlights to look more blue, so that's why I've started with the black first. So I'm coming in and I'm lining all the areas that I want to be dark, and I've also missed a part of the hair on the front there, which I'm going to do with the reds that will be through her clothes. So you can see that I've taken the cap off the black because it's quite runny, and that helps to equalize the pressure in it and stops it from dripping and running on the page, because I didn't want to mess it up and have to redo it. So I've pulled the cap off there and done that. So you'll notice here as I'm doing the hair again, some of the shadow areas were already put in. So I've followed those and just filled in the color there. So I haven't done hair really detailed like I have in other images with lots of different strands and things like that. I think it would have just made things a little bit more difficult and a little bit more confusing, so I've just followed in the shadow lines that were already in the hair to be able to create just the look of highlights and things through there anyway. So I've decided to use the black for shadow areas in the clothing as well, so I'm just going in and putting that in now. So I'm using black because I'm going to do a really dark navy color through her hair and on her clothes as well. So that will be the base of the shadow areas, which came out quite nice. It made it nice and deep. So I've got B39 and I'm coming in over the top of the black and bringing this a little bit further out towards the next line that was in the hair. And I'm making sure that I leave a gap big enough to put a couple more colors in to blend that out and to a lighter color again. I'm using this in the clothes as well. So I'm going to use some B37 and just bring that out a little bit further. So this is a little bit brighter now. I'm going to start on some red areas. I'm going to use some R59, and I'm going to go in and do the shadow areas of the hair here that I've missed. So this is the part that I wanted to have a change in color. Also too, I'm going to use this color on most of the accessories on her this time. So I'm going to use it on her straps that are crossing over her costume, on her mask, and also in her wings and things. And there's a little ribbon thing in her hair as well, which I'll use to go in there as well. So I'm going to try to mix in reds with red oranges and some orange colors to try and get those flames and things looking nice and bright as well. So I'll come back in with those colors too. So I'm just going in and making sure that I'm getting all of the details in here so that I can blend that out with the next color. So I've just noticed that I've missed the boot, so I'm coming in and doing the same colors I did in the boot. So I had B39 that should have been before, and now B37. So I've got some YO2 this time, and I'm actually going in over the top of the clothes in the highlighted areas to put this through there so you can kind of see it through. It looks a little bit like a glow on the clothes. I've also gone over the mask as well with that. So I'm just making the highlights on her skin a little bit brighter as well. And I'm also doing a little bit more in her hair and things like that to put a bit of a glow through. I'm also going to put a little bit on her skin and hands and things like that later on as well. So I'm going to fill out the whole flame area in the wings with the YO2. So what happens is I pick up the Y color and I think, okay, what colors do I want Y? And I try to go through and put those in so that I've done that one color. So you can see I've put that in on the hand there as well. Also, I'm going to put it on her leg and under her arm as well later on. So I've got the R59 again, and I'm coming in and just lining in all of the darker areas of the wings. So in the process of speeding up the video, I've noticed that my hand covers over some of the areas that I do. So you may have to just wait till I finish that color and then have a look at what I've filled in from previously to get that. So I'm coming in still with that color. There's a fair bit of this color through because this is my only shadow color that I'm using. You could deepen that up a little bit more by adding some blue into it or even black as well. So if you wanted a little bit deeper in those shadow areas, you could add those colors in as well. So blending out that color with R27 now, so bringing it back up to a lighter color. So my next lightest color, I'm going to come closer to an orange red. So then I'm going to bring in orange later on to blend straight over that. So we wanted to try and get it so it doesn't come out too pink. I wanted it a real red orange color. So she's really coming together now. I've got some R14 and I'm coming over the top of the previous color and making sure I've lightened that up a little bit, and I'm putting a little bit through some of the flame areas there as well. So just putting a little highlight there of blue just across the bottom of the wing because obviously we've got blue in the foreground, so I've popped that in there as well. So with her tattoo, I've just used the Y02 over the top of the red, and that's just made that tattoo color bleed out over the rest of the tattoo. So that's the only colors I've used through there. So just filled in a bit of skin that I missed before, some R14 in the eyes, and I'm going over the top of the whole area with the YO2 and using the R43 as the fleshy parts again. And also I just deepened up the color around her eyes there as well, so they were a little bit brighter pink than before. So just touching up some little pieces there, doing the eyebrows with that darker blue color there, the B39. So the R59, and I'm blending that out a little bit more now with the R27. And then I've got to do underneath her arm there. I missed a bit of the wing as well. So use R14 down the middle of the flames, and now I'm putting in that YR07. So we've got our orange color coming through now, and I'm going to blend that out again with Y13. So I'm trying to create a little bit of a flame color, I guess. It's not coming off as looking like real flames or anything, but I wanted the orange and pinks and reds through there. So I've got some R27. I'm just bringing that into the handle of the sword, and also some YR07 as well. I'm going to put that YR07 over the top of the wing here too, just to put in that orange color through there. So the highlight color of her band on her hair will be that YR07 as well, and I'm using the other reds to blend that out now. making sure I put some shadow in and putting a little bit of yellow over the top of that too to bleed it out a bit. So I've gone over the Y02 now and some of the wings with the Y13 to bring a little bit more colour through. And I'm back to the R59. So I'm just swapping and changing out the same colours. This is part of our clothes again, so I just wanted to make sure I filled that in. I probably could have done this part here blue, it wouldn't have mattered, so either colour. I just sort of thought maybe it might be part of her strapping coming down underneath her at her feet there. I've got some C3 for the sword, and I'm just going in and putting a little bit of that on one side and blending it out with Y02. Got that YR07 again, and I'm just making sure I've put a little bit through the hair and also just on top of the wing again there, just to brighten that up a little bit. So quite often I'll go in and do a couple of layers. I've also brought a little bit of this through the yellow parts of the flames there at the top. Now I'm going to start on this dragon down here, so he's going to be the same colours as through the wings. So I'm just going to repeat those colours, and the flames on top of him I'm going to try to do yellow and orange as well. There is a fair bit of detail in this one. Doing an A4 page may be a little bit easier for you, but you're going to use a lot more markers, so just keep that in mind as well. Also too, you could do pencils. I'm going to do a conversion chart as well. Now just remember too, with pencils it's not going to come out exactly the same. With pencils you use less colours usually, or you use a lot more white and things like that as well, so you are using a different technique obviously, and you'll be using less color because you don't have the ability to blend over and over and over like you do with markers. Also too, with markers you can change the color of the underneath color by adding markers on the top, whereas with pencils it's a little bit harder to do that too. So still coming in with the reds and just going and blending a little bit further out. So I lined everything and all the shadow areas there with the R59, and now I'm coming out and blending those a little bit further out. So I'm coming in to do some of the flames now on the back of the dragon. So I'm just filling a little bit of this colour through to get this through the dragon as well. But I'm putting it into the flame area here, just around the top of him. I'm not filling out the entire flame area though yet. So I'm going to blend that out now with YR04 and just give that colour a little bit of, I guess, a blend up towards the lightest colour. So I'm going to use some yellow through the lightest colour. So I've got that Y35 and I'm coming in and just going around that. So this is an orangey kind of yellow, so it's not as bright as what a bright yellow is. Got Y13 and I'm coming over the rest of the dragon. I'm also going over the body of him as well, just to lighten that up a little bit. I've also put some on to underneath her arm there where there would be glow from that, and also on a couple of parts here. I've also put it on the skin on this bottom one as well. I'll blend it out with some YR000 just to make sure that's nice and smooth. So that's our two girls mainly done. So I'm going to come in and start the background first, and then I'll go to the foreground after. So it looks like in the bottom of the picture there is some water, so I'm going to do that later on. I'm just going to put in some shadow areas into this background part here. So it looks like this is a house or a shed or something, and you're actually looking inside an open area. So I've made this quite dark using the B39 that we've used previously on the hair and that as well. So just coming in now, filling that area out. I've left a little gap at the top there. I think that's supposed to be some sort of a window, so I'll just make them a little bit lighter. So I've got B37, which I'm going to blend out with and go a little bit further into those areas. Got B16, and I've almost covered up the entire area now. I've left the little gaps there at the back, and I'll do them with the lighter blue color. I've also put a little bit of this on the top roof here as well. So it's almost like we're coming into nighttime. It's not quite nighttime yet. It's like, what is it, dusk? Yeah, dusk. So I'm coming in with B04 now and just lightening up these outside areas. And I've also put this in those back window areas there as well. So finally I'm coming in with BO2 to finish that one off. So I've got some E35 and I'm just doing this on the roof here. I'm going to blend it out with some E33. So just to create some nice texture through there, give us some shadow and highlight areas. Once I've done that E33, I'm going to come over with a little bit of YR00 as well to put some peach color through there as well. So the sky in the background, we're going to use some peach color, like a sunset type color. So I've got R20 and I've just sort of randomly laid this down in the background, not covering the whole area there though. And then I've come over with YR00 to blend that out. So we've got a really nice peachy colored background there now. I really quite like it. It came out quite nice. So just blending all that out nice and smooth. On the opposite side here, on the left side, I'm going to use some G40 just for behind the background trees there. I'm going over the top of some of those trees because I'm going to come in with those with a darker brown. It doesn't matter if I've gone over them with green. I'm also doing some of the tops of the plants here as well. So I've just picked a section to do there. I've got G85 and I'm coming in and I'm just randomly putting this through the back area here. So there's a lot of lines and things here. I thought I could follow them really closely, but I've just sort of randomly dabbed it on there, squiggled it in, I guess, in on the bushes, and then just followed some of the lines on the mountains. I'm going to blend it out with some G82. I'm also going to bring some YR00 over that as well, just to put some colour through. I'm deepening up and putting some R20 through it now, just on the tops and through the mountain areas, not onto the plants. And then I've got some Y00 and I'm going over the tips there. Going to put this in the background as well because I didn't go really close to the mountains with that colour. I've just added that in to show the reflection of the sun in the background there. So I've got that YR00 and just blending all that through. So a little bit of a different technique, and I really quite like the colours that came out of that one. So as I said, I didn't mind going over the background trees with green because I'm actually going to use green to come in over those now. So I've got some G85 and I'm going in and I'm going to line all of these trees like their shadows and just put this colour through the whole area. So all the trees at the back there I'm going to do as well. Favouring my YR colours today, I'm going over with YR000 just to put that colour through the background area as well. Because we want that to come from one side to the other, I've made sure I've put that in there as well. I've got E74. I'm going to go in and line the shadow areas of this tree. I'm also going to put a couple of strokes through there just to show a little bit of texture as well. I'm going to blend it out with some E71. I'm going to come back in with some E79 later and just darken that up a bit, but I just wanted to mark it in so I could get some of those plants done. So I'm using G29 and I've got heaps of this to do, so I'm just going to go through and start putting that in. I'm putting it in all of the darker areas that I wanted. So as I said, there is markings in the background for the bushes and things, so there's different sections marked out. You can follow along those if you'd like, or pick the areas that you want to do as dark. So I'm not going to do all of it that color because I want to put some more lighter colors through to show depth and things like that as well. I'm also going to bring this color through all the way down underneath through the bottom part of this picture as well, and also through the water and things as well, because this will be the darkest green that I do use through there. I'm going to use some G85 and fill in a little bit more of this jaggedy bush area at the back here. I'm also going to use some G82 as well. So you can see how that kind of looks there in the background. It looks quite nice. So I'm going to continue on and finish that off with those colors all the way around the area now. I make sure that I go into the darker sections with it as well, just to make sure that I've put some highlights in and it blends in nicely. So I've got that E79. I'm going to put some darker areas through the tree because it did wash out a little bit once I put that darker green in. I'm also going to put a few streaks through there just to show a little bit of texture as well, and I'm going to blend it out with E74. So using the same green colours now, I've got that G82. I'm going in and just marking in all the lighter areas first. These are the parts of the grass that I wanted to stay quite light. You could also put some yellow into this as well because there's a reflection of the dragon in here as well. So I've got that dark green again, G29, and I'm just coming into all the shadow areas now. So this is where I'm going to fill out all of the darker parts of the grass and the ground. As I start to fill in this area around the dragon, you can see how I can now see where the colors will go for him, which is what I was trying to do because it was really quite confusing in the background there. So I figured using or doing him last would then help me to be able to see what was going on around him. So I'm still using that G29 and still filling out those shadow areas around the areas here. So guys, just while I'm doing that there now, I just wanted to have a quick chat. Let you know that I'm really loving doing these tutorials for you. I really hope that you are enjoying them and that you're getting a lot out of them. I do have a couple of classes that I've taken and I'm going to review those shortly. I've almost finished one of them. I'm really close, but with time restraints and trying to get you guys out videos and things like that, it takes me time to have some colouring time to myself, if you may call it. So I just want you to know that I'm really happy. I've got heaps of subscribers now. I managed to make it up to 10,000 views and over now, which is fantastic. So I've had a lot of expressions of interest from artists and things wanting me to colour their images, which has been fantastic. I'm just loving it. Also doing a few little flip throughs for some artists as well, and just having a great time with it. So doing what I love, which is colouring, and being able to help you guys out, which is my second love. And I just wanted you to know that I appreciate everything that you've done and all your support and things like that over the last couple of months. So hopefully in a year's time, I'll be telling you how wrapped I am with 10,000 subscribers. And anyway, you know what I mean. So I'm having a great time anyway. I'm also meeting heaps of wonderful people, and it's great to hear everyone's point of view and to get lots of ideas and things like that. So I have started up Patreon, and the reason I've started Patreon because it takes a lot of effort and time to go into doing conversion charts and things like that. So that was something that it does take a lot of my time. So offering it to patrons to me makes it easier and gives me something as an incentive to keep redoing those. So I'll also too on Patreon, I'm doing little some extended videos. So of doing a video like this, I might do an extended one which goes a bit longer, and I'll explain things in a little bit more detail. Also too, I'm doing little snippets of I guess images, so I might concentrate on a particular technique and things like that as well. So if you're interested in having a look at that, in the description below, you'll be able to see the details for those as well. So I'm just coming in now. I've got G85, so I finished off all of my darker greens, and now I'm coming in and just putting in this color. Now I'm doing it randomly over the areas. I'm not worrying about the lines or anything through there. I am skipping little bits and leaving some white because I want to bring that G82 back in and put a little bit more light color through there. So I'm swapping out now for the G82, and I'm really just filling in the whole area now. So anything I've missed, I'm filling out. I'm just leaving the water, which is trickling down in a bit of a stream there. That's the only thing that I'm leaving uncolored. So I'm going to start on this little dragon in a moment as well. So I've got some B40, and I'm just coming in over the water section now and filling all that in. I'm going to put some blues and greens through this water area, and also I'm going to use some white gouache, and I'm going to put that through as well to show some foaminess and things like that through the water. So I'm just redoing over the top of that just to get that nice and smooth. I'm using this over the entire dragon hanging on her stick there. I've got BO2, and I'm going to come in and do the shadow areas. I'm going to obviously bring some darker colors through now as well. I'm going to bring some E33 over this wooden section here. See, I wasn't sure what that was until I started to color in the background, so that's why doing the background first was a good call, I guess. So I've got B16, and I'm coming into the darker areas now. I'm putting this through the dragon. I'm trying to put a little bit of texture and depth through him so that he doesn't look just, you know, flat on the page there. So I'm coming in with the, I think that was BO5, I missed that there, whatever it was that came up on the screen then. I've got BO2, and I'm just sort of blended that out a little bit. I am going to put some white through that as well. So I've got BO2, and I'm coming in and just putting it randomly through the water areas, concentrating on where the lines were in the middle of the area. So you can see there that there's already some lines, so I've just sort of run along those and put that in. I've got some B16, and I'm doing the same thing, not as much as what I did with the B2, but just marking in some deeper depth area there. Because we've got a lot of green in the background, I'm putting some BG49 in as well, just to bring all that in together. So there we almost have it. I've got some B00, and I'm just going over all of the areas I've already done. It'll help to just sort of blend it in again a bit and stop those really defined lines. It kind of just melts away the edges of the darker colors. So I'm popping that in now. So as I said before, I did take the colors and things like that from inspiration of Jasmine's original image because I really liked it and I thought it really stood out. I haven't actually done it justice. Hers is just lovely. I love it. But I'm hoping that you guys get to see by doing this how I've just adapted those colors to use with markers and things like that. Obviously there's a few different things that are different to hers. She's got so much more depth in her dragons, and the highlights and things like that are a lot brighter and things as well. So I'm coming in with the white gouache or gouache. I'm not sure how to actually pronounce it. Everyone pronounces it differently. It is an opaque white watercolor paint, so any brand will do. I have put a brand in the link there that you can get it from Amazon as an individual tube there. It's exactly the same as what I'm using now. So I'm coming in and I'm just marking out just a few areas. I'm not really fussed about the highlights. I just wanted the water to have a bit more white through it. So I've just done a few white highlights through there and also made it kind of look a bit fluffier around where the water's bubbling over the edges and things like that as well. I've also tried to put a bit of colour through on the wings and also in the shiny parts of the sword and things like that as well, and also in the back of the dragon I've put a little bit through there as well. So that's everything. So I'm going to put a little bit on the mountains up the top there as well, just to highlight them off a little bit from the sunlight going down in the background there. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. It was a little bit quicker than normal because we've done it on the A5 page. It's not quite as big as an A4, which does take a little bit longer to do and also uses a lot more ink. So I'm quite happy to do these smaller images. The only thing is that I've just noticed with doing these small images that you don't see as much. So the next Jasmine one I'm going to do in an A4 size, and I'm going to do a new image from the Mermaids book. So I'm really excited about that. I've got some glass to show in that, to show how to get reflection and things on glass. So I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to get started on that one for you today. So guys, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, so you get notifications when I do upload new videos. And thank you again for all your support, guys. See you next time.